back to my channel. I am back with another monthly reading wrap-up. We're going to talk about all of the books that I read in March. This was an interesting reading month for me. I felt like I didn't read that much, but looking at the pile, I read just as many as last month, and last month was like a good reading month for me. Like, I read 6 books. That's not like a small amount. I don't really know why I felt like I didn't read that many. Wait, I do. I did a lot of audiobooks this month. That's what it was. I'm in my audiobook era. Like, I'm addicted to audiobooks. I cannot stop listening to audiobooks. I'll fully like need to clean my room and it's like just barely messy, and it'll take like 2 minutes, and I just turn on an audiobook for 2 minutes. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I am addicted to them. I just started another one. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not really complaining. I'm just confused. Yeah, let's get into all the books that I read this month. Okay, so like I said, I read 6 books. Now, I am filming this on March, can't see that, March 29th, and I'm in the middle of a book right now, so I could finish it and it could be one more, but I don't know, and I need to film this video so that I can edit it and post it, so we're just gonna kind of stop here. So 6 books, pretty decent. That's my average, is like 6 books a month. Sometimes more, sometimes less, it depends what's going on. The first book that I read took me an entire week, and that is Onyx Storm. Now, I got it at the library, so I don't have it anymore because I gave it back because there were like 1,000 people behind me. Usually, and I don't know if this is bad, but I'm very much of a library girl. If it's like a new book that I don't know if I'm gonna like it, I order it from the library, and then I purchase books that I loved, and it's, my bookshelf is like a trophy case of like my favorites. But anyway, when I get books at the library, I typically keep them for the entire month to film these videos, so I have the physical copies, and then I return my books at the end of every month. I don't know if that's bad, but I will say, like Onyx Storm, there were a bunch of people behind me, and I knew that was a very coveted book, so I just gave it back. I'm not going to keep books that like everybody wants, because that's just selfish, and also if the books are due, I obviously bring them back, but if they're not due, or there's like renewals, or there's not that many people, I will just keep them for the month. But I could not keep Onyx Storm for the month, so all I've got to show for it is this. I was vlogging when I finished Onyx Storm, so I ended up recording a clip of my reaction and review of the end in that, which I already posted that, but I'm going to insert a more in-depth review right now that I filmed immediately after finishing. So, cut to that. I'm about to go run some errands, but I thought that I would really quickly do an Onyx Storm final review, final thoughts. Honestly, that ending has me like no thoughts, head empty. I watched like videos of people breaking down the ending and like what they think it means, because it's confusing, which I thought was just me. Like, I thought I was stupid or something. I thought that I missed something, but turns out it's purposefully confusing, so that makes me feel a little better. So initially when I closed the book, I was like, what just happened? But after watching some of the videos and stuff and hearing some theories, I definitely think that's very intriguing ending. I honestly can't wait for the next one. It's definitely a lot more enjoyable than Iron Flame. It was much more interesting. There was like a plot line, you know, through the whole thing that kind of tied it all together. It felt purposeful, and like everything that happened was necessary, and even little things that like maybe didn't come back in this book, I think they're gonna come back eventually. This was definitely much, much better than Iron Flame, and I kind of see I see which direction this series is gonna go. I see like the point of it now. Definitely a little bit more excited about like this series now. I ended up giving it 4 stars because, again, 5 stars is a feeling, and I wasn't like addicted to it, but when I was reading it really fast, and like I was, you know, gasping and like shocked, and I was very invested, but it just wasn't constantly on my mind, so that's why I said 4 stars, which to me is like a great book, but just not a favorite of all time, you know? So yeah, that's how I feel about this. So that's kind of how I was feeling about Onyx Storm. I'm gonna be honest, I filmed that clip like 4 weeks ago, so I don't remember if I told you what I rated it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. Anyways, let's move on from Onyx Storm. If you've been keeping up with me, you know that I have started a very highly anticipated series, and this month I read the first 2 books. So we'll start with the first one. This is Binding 13, the first book in the Boys of Tommen series. I have just heard so many people talk about this book and like rave reviews about it, and it's a lot of like my favorite booktubers' favorite series of all time. So I was like, I need to get in on this. I need to know what people are talking about when they're talking about it. You know, I had FOMO, so I jumped right in. I gave this book a 4-star. I also did vlog myself reading this book and the second one, and I'm going to just make a really big Boys of Tommen vlog where I read the whole series, or maybe like, I don't know, the first 3 or 4 and then start a new one for the newer releases. I don't know. We'll see how long the Boys of Tommen vlog gets. So if you want more in-depth thoughts, that video will be coming probably end of April, beginning of May. Depends on how long I take to read the series, because currently as we speak I'm taking a little break. Keeping 13 destroyed me, so I'm currently taking a little break and reading some rom-coms in between. But anyways, Binding 13. I ended up giving this a 4-star. I really, really enjoyed it. This book was a little bit cutesy. This book was a little bit lighter and cutesier, which is not a word, but you know what I mean. It was a little bit lighter than Keeping, and also it's a little bit lighter than, I'm assuming, the rest of the series. So that's why it got a 4, because it was more just like an enjoyable time, and they were touching on the dark topics, and I knew that they were going to jump headfirst into the dark topics. Not because I had been spoiled or anything, just because I could feel it in my bones that it was about to get dark. This book felt like build up. It felt like getting us attached to the characters, and then they were going to put the characters through hell for the rest of the books. So that's why I gave this one a 4, because I was like, I can feel a 5-star like brewing, but I need a little bit more. And I got more. I got more, but we'll get to that. I loved this book, and I think that I love this series. I think I need to read like a couple more to know if I like love the series, but I loved these first 2, which again, we'll talk about Keeping in a second. If you've been thinking about starting the series, you definitely should. But yeah, I think that my Goodreads review, because right now I'm looking at Fable, so I don't know, but my Goodreads review said like, oh, this series is gonna be a problem for me. Like, I could feel the obsession brewing. And I still think about this book like a couple times a week. Yeah, pretty good start to the month. 2 4-stars right off the bat. And then I ended up finishing my first audiobook of the month. So again, all I have to show for it is this, which got wet somehow. Can you see that? Ew. I read The Favorites. This had been pitched to me as a drama-filled, toxic, celebrity romance that gave similar energy to Daisy Jones and the Six. If you guys know anything about me, you should know that that is right up my alley. I gave this book a 4.5. It wasn't quite a 5. I have never given an audiobook a 5. And I really enjoyed the audiobook because of all the different voices, and there were like interview style portions in between the chapters with all the different characters. And so the audiobook was like a fun time. There's just sort of like a 5-star feeling of where you cannot stop reading. You cannot put the book down. You just keep flipping. Like, there's something about that an audiobook cannot capture, but I did still obviously really enjoy it, and I think about these characters a lot. It felt so real. Like, when I finished the book and like put my phone down, I was like, wait, those people weren't real. Like, I felt like I was literally listening to like a docuseries. Like, it felt very real. It was very toxic. very drama filled, which you know that I love. And I love sort of celebrity and fame in books. So it was right up my alley. Now it was figure skaters, which I know nothing about, but I still really enjoyed it. I think even though it wasn't a 5-star, I think that it would definitely be one of my favorite reads of the year, just because it was such a fun time with like the audiobook and everything. Okay, and then we read Ow. I can't even talk about it. I have literally never sobbed over a book like I sobbed over this book. Like, struggling to breathe, tears streaming, snot pouring. Like, afterwards I looked in the mirror and my face was swollen. Like, I haven't cried that hard over a book ever. Maybe Evelyn Hugo and maybe Daisy Jones, but like that was 2 years ago. Like, I have not cried in so long, and like I love it for that. Because like if a book is sad, I'll tear up or like get choked up or like feel it physically. Like, I do get emotional about books a lot. I'll even like get little choked up over like a cute little ending to a rom-com or something. Like, if it's just really cute and sappy, like I do get very emotional, but it's very rare that tears fall. You know what I mean? Like, I'm crying, and it's very rare that I am sobbing, heaving, can't breathe, have to rub ice on my face afterwards because I look like I got stung by 1,000 bees. Like, that doesn't happen. So this book was so good. I could not stop reading it even though I was crying. And I had to take breaks because I couldn't see the page because I was crying so hard. You will see that in the vlog. You poor soul. See my ugly crying face? Yeah, I don't know. This was so good. Like, they got me hooked in with Binding 13 and like attached the characters, thinking it was cutesy, enjoying the dynamics, and then they just decided to ruin my life. Don't talk to me anymore. Like, I could cry right now thinking about it. When I first finished the book, I gave it 4.5, but then I thought about it all night, and in the morning I woke up still thinking about it, and I was like, I feel like it's a 5. Because I was like weeping in my bed. Like, how is that not a 5? So yeah, I ended up bumping it to a 5. You don't like that? Yeah, I ended up bumping it to a 5 just because it's so good, and I can feel that this series, if it continues on like these books did, like just every book I get more and more attached, the whole series could be a 5. So this was the moment when I realized that this series could be a 5, and so I was like, let's give her a 5. This is one of my favorite reads of all time. So, like I mentioned, I had to take a break from Boys of Tommen for a second and read some standalones in the middle. And I know I said that I'm gonna read rom-coms, but I started with this. I just felt like after Boys of Tommen I needed like a mystery to like distract myself and like to kind of like invest myself in, if that makes sense. So this is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This is a very popular book that I had never read until now. Whoa. It knew I was about to say something mean. This book was okay. I gave it a 3.5 because it was very addicting. Like, it was very fast paced, and the characters and the character relationships and friendships were very, very engaging, and I did really enjoy that. But the mystery of it and the sort of, I just don't think that the mystery was very engaging. I don't think it was very interesting. Like, I was reading the book for the character relationships. I was reading a mystery for the character relationships. I just like didn't even care really about the mystery. Like, sometimes I would skip through some parts when they were finding out information. I was like, just tell me like what the new information is. Like, I don't care how you're finding it out. I just felt like I didn't really care, and the end of the book and like what the actual the climax or like the climax was like one chapter, and I just don't think that it was done very well. It was a very interesting concept, and like the setup of it was really good, but I just did not enjoy like the mystery of it, and this was a mystery. So I had to kind of rate it off of that, you know? I don't think this is a bad book by any means, and like if you liked it, like I understand why. I was just going into it really excited about the mystery, and it just kind of let me down. The answer to the mystery was just like very anticlimactic, and I felt like the ending and like the everything coming out was very anticlimactic. Again, I think it was like one chapter of like everything coming out, and I just felt like more could have been done. Okay, now our last book of the month that I read, just finished it yesterday, was another audiobook. And so again, I dropped the sticky note. It's gone. I ended up reading First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, if that's correct, and I can't see it. Oh, wait, it's right here. Yeah, B.K. Borison. I just saw like everybody talking about it in February, and I was like denying the hype. Like everyone was talking about it around Valentine's Day and stuff, because it came out around Valentine's Day, I think, and it's a very Valentine's Day coded book. So everyone was talking about it on like Book Talk and BookTube and stuff, and I was like, do I need to read it? I don't know. It's just like a rom-com. It doesn't really feel like it would change my life. Like I was like, no, I don't need to read it. My TBR is so long. Like I do not need to stray. Well, I strayed. I gave this book a 4-star. I think that it was a really fun time. Like when I was reading it, it was really fun, and I enjoyed. Okay, this is gonna sound really hypocritical when I kind of give my negative, but I enjoyed the characters. They felt very real. Their lives and their problems felt very real, which I enjoyed. I loved like Lucy and her daughter and her relationship with her daughter's father. Like that felt very real. I really loved Lucy's part of the story. Aiden's part of the story, I don't know. He had like rom-com man syndrome, which is a term that I made up. It's basically when you read a rom-com and the man is just like sort of this like blank slate for like the author's fantasies, and they don't really have a lot of depth to them or their own life outside of being the perfect book boyfriend. I just don't like that. And that's kind of weird to say because he did have his own problems, but I just felt like he didn't. I don't know. Like, I don't think that his side of his trauma and everything with his family, which no spoilers, but I just felt like that wasn't developed at all. He started in the same place that he ended. And so did Lucy. But I enjoyed Lucy's story more and like her journey, if you can even call it that, because my Goodreads review is like, I think I said character development. We don't know her. I don't feel like the characters changed at all. Again, I don't think that Aiden was a very interesting character. Or like he wasn't a very good like romantic partner. We didn't even get to see him be a romantic partner. Like I feel like the book, okay, spoiler, I have to say this. The end of the book, like the last chapter, well not the epilogue, but like the last chapter, when they're confessing their feelings after the third act breakup, he said like, I don't know how to be in a relationship, but I want to try. And then the book ended. And it's like, why didn't we have that in the middle? Why couldn't we have their build up, okay? Then him decide that he wants to maybe try a relationship with her, and then have the second half of the book be them navigating that, and him navigating that. I feel like that would have been so much more like engaging and would have made him so much more interesting, and we could have had more character development. There was no development at all. They stayed the exact same from the beginning to the end. And I say that all while giving it a 4-star because I really enjoyed listening to it. Like, it was a fun story. I loved the writing. I enjoyed the concept. It was very interesting. It was very unique for a rom-com. I feel like a lot of rom-coms are very much the same. This felt very different. It was a good time. When I was listening, I was having a great time. But I have to critique the fact that the characters did not develop at all. Because that's kind of a big thing. Like, we were at the end of the book, and, like, Aiden was still being a child. And it's like, we didn't progress at all. There were moments where I was like, you're acting the same that you did in chapter 1. Like, what's going on? Where's the development? Especially in a rom-com that's supposed to be emotional and focus on character. Why are the characters not changing? That's all that I'll say. I'm sorry if that's harsh. But it's my truth. Okay, that is all the books that I read this month. See, doesn't this look sad? Please comment if you've read any of these books, your thoughts, if you're planning on reading them, any thoughts that you have on anything that I said. Let's discuss books. Please like the video if you did enjoy, and subscribe if you want more content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a really great day. Books are falling.